Hello and welcome to the Weekly Knockout, GroundPunch.com's roundup of the biggest gaming news. This week the Pokemon Moon and Sun starters have been revealed, and also numerous financial reports. Saturday the 14th of May 2016. Biggest news this week is the Pokemon Moon and Sun starters have been revealed, in addition to what the new region is called, some cover art details, and a few other things that we'll go over. So starting with the new starters, they are called Rowlet, which is a grass and air starter, Litten, which is a fire Pokemon, and Popplio, which is a water Pokemon. Bearing in mind that when you actually hear what these Pokemon are called, they will sound nothing like what I just pronounced them. The new region is also called, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, Alola. Not even a clue. But the new region looks to be Pokemon's take on Hawaii, possibly the most tropical location we've seen to date. The new Pokemon themselves, they all look fairly interesting. Rowlet is particularly interesting, being a sort of owl, a grass owl, so something we haven't really seen before. And Popplio looks to be a seal clown, so it's going to be really interesting to see what he evolves into, or she. And the same for all the starters really, it's always exciting to see what they eventually become in their fully evolved forms. There's also cover art released for the game. If you want to see what these Pokemon look like and you're watching the video, then it's on screen. Otherwise, go to GroundPunch.com. The game is going to be coming out 18th November 2016 on 3DS. So the next big news this week is that Disney Infinity has been cancelled and developer Avalanche has been shut down. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone affected by the closure. Disney has announced that there will be 2 upcoming sets still to release, including 3 new characters from Alice to the Looking Glass, as well as a Finding Dory playset. And with Avalanche now closed, Disney are looking to adopt a licensing model for its franchises, the type of thing you've seen with EA and Star Wars, as opposed to self-publishing games. If you want to hear more about the Disney Infinity closure, there's actually a special one-off weekly knockout you can go listen to, where I go into all my thoughts about what this means for Toys to Life, why I think it happened, etc, etc. If you're in any doubt, EA has confirmed that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is real. They sort of cleared up a few details about their lineup of Star Wars games. So starting off with next year, EA has confirmed their Star Wars Battlefront sequel will be released, or is at least planned to be released, for 2017. The sequel will have, quote, bigger and better worlds, end quote, and will include content from, quote, the new movies, end quote. Currently expected to follow in 2018 is an unnamed Star Wars game being developed by Visceral and Motive, which is being penned by Amy Hennig, creator of the Uncharted series. There's also the game that Respawn, the developers of Titanfall, are working on. And EA is planning to release at least 1 Star Wars game per year, quote, over the next 3 to 4 years, end quote. So if you want your Star Wars fill, EA should have it for you. Next up, Witcher 3 Blood and Wine has a release date, which is May the 31st. Few details have emerged. There's going to be more than 90 new quests with 30 hours of brand new adventures. There's going to be new endgame mutation mechanics. There's going to be a place Geralt can call home, and the region featured is going to be as big as No Man's Land. Continuing on with the theme of release dates, Monster Hunter Generations, titled Monster Hunter X in Japan, is going to be released in North America and Europe on the 15th of July this year for 3DS. If you already own Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, then you'll be able to access additional content for Generations. There's going to be 2 Generations-themed Nintendo 3DS XLs featuring game-related artwork. They look really sweet, and you can see them on screen if this is a video. If this is the audio, go to GroundPunch.com. Note that the blue version is only going to release in North America. The red version is only going to release in Europe. And if you were thinking of picking up Monster Hunter Generations, it may interest you to know that the Nintendo 2DS has had another price drop. So it had its first price drop in August of last year, down from $130 to $100. It's now had a second price drop from $100 to $80. There's also going to be some editions of the console that are going to come pre-installed with Mario Kart 8. Now, Mario Kart 8 is retailing for around $30. That means the effective cost of the system can be as low as $50 if you pick up one of those special bundles. So carrying on with some more Nintendo news, this is a bit of a weird one. Vice President of EA, Patrick Sutherland. In case you haven't guessed, the running theme of the Weekly Knockout is me not being able to pronounce names. But he has said that EA will bring games to NX, quote, if it makes sense. Quote, they're huge fans of Nintendo, end quote, and that they are in, quote, constant communication, end quote, with Nintendo. Now what this says to me is that EA doesn't really have any plans to bring games to NX at the moment. It doesn't have any titles in development worth talking about at this point, which is a shame. One of the biggest problems that the Wii U faced was tremendous lack of third-party support. And one of the biggest hopes that I have for the NX, and certainly a lot of people have for the NX, is that Nintendo will start to attempt to repair bridges that it burnt over the last decade, and that the NX hardware is going to be powerful enough to run third-party games. A lot of the games releasing on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, the Wii U is simply not powerful enough to run, so hopefully the NX can pack enough of a punch to run the latest games like Witcher 3, Battlefield 1, and all of those. So now we have some financials to talk about. Actually, we've got a lot of financials to talk about. So let's kick off with Street Fighter V underperforming. As of the 31st of March, it sold 1.4 million copies, which is a decent number of copies, but unfortunately is 600,000 copies short of Capcom's 2 million expectation. Probably a number of reasons for this, mainly the fact that the game didn't launch with a single-player campaign. Star Wars Battlefront has passed 14 million sales, which is good news for EA. They previously predicted that the game would sell 13 million copies, a figure that they increased from their original 9 million estimation. So Star Wars Battlefront going from strength to strength, smashing through all of its targets and expectations. It's worth noting that that figure is only shipped copies, not sold through to consumers. Next up, Dark Souls 3 has shipped 3 million copies, with 1.5 million having been sold in North America, 1 million in Europe, and 500,000 units in Japan and Asia. Consequently, Dark Souls 3 is Bandai Namco America's fastest selling game, and the series as a whole has surpassed 13 million units sold, so congratulations to Bandai and From Software for that. Battleborn is set to surpass the sales of the first Borderlands. Creative director Randy Varnell has revealed Gearbox Software is cautiously optimistic, quote, about Battleborn. Currently the game is tracking just ahead of the first Borderlands sales, which sold between 7 and 8 million copies, and they expect to see similar growth with Battleborn, with Gearbox already seeing, quote, steady and growing user counts on all three platforms. And for more on Battleborn, you'll be able to read our review of Battleborn, or specifically my review of Battleborn, on groundpunch.com towards the end of next week. And to wrap up, The Division has a registered player base of 9.5 million. News comes from Ubisoft's CEO, a name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but whoever he is also said that the average player logs 3 hours with the game daily. Some very impressive figures. Additionally, he stated that the audiences of Far Cry and Rainbow Six have tripled and doubled respectively, although exactly which bases these figures were derived from is unknown. And that's going to be a wrap for the Weekly Knockout for Saturday, 14th of May 2016. Groundpunch.com is now officially launched. We were previously going through a sort of rolling launch, but now the website is fully up and running, so if you want to go over there, there's a lot of great content you can check out. Personally, I've got a Captain America Civil War review, spoiler-free and spoiler-full versions, and I also have a piece I'm really proud of, which is the top video game soundtracks of 2015, so I'd really appreciate if you wanted to check those out, or any of the stuff we have over on groundpunch.com. As always, take care and join me next week for another roundup of the biggest gaming news.